family.
Whoa!
Preston's
Woo!
Paradise here, baby. Joined with my man, my homie Paulie Walnuts, my co-host. College football is back, ladies and gentlemen.
We are back.
The confetti falls from the football gods. We are back at
I
it,
love
my guy. We are back at it, and we get into it, man. Shouts out to the USC football program. Shouts out to everybody on the channel. Hold up. I'm having a little bit of technical difficulties with this confetti right now. That's my bad. But Paulie Walnuts, man, been a minute since you've been on, long form, type of podcast, long form type of show. You started up your channel. Tell people where to find you at, man.
You can find me at Calling the Shots Calling the Shots with Paulie Walnuts on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram, X, Facebook. But it's an absolute pleasure to be here with you, Preston. This has been a long time coming. We talk all the time, and then we came up with the idea of doing this show together. And I got to tell you, this is something I've always wanted to do since I was a little boy, man. And to be able to have a platform and talk about the thing I love most, and that's sports, and especially the USC Trojans and college football, man. So it feels really great to be here, Preston, this morning. And we got a great show for you guys. I'm so excited to go over some of the content we have here for you today. And so let's do it, Preston. I'm ready.
Yeah, man, definitely. I'm going to get into a lot of fun stuff today. You guys know where to find me, Preston's Paradise, man, on YouTube. Been talking about this team a lot. But, Paulie, man, you in particularly haven't really been, able to speak in long form about this team, about the USC Trojans. We're going to attack the USC Trojans first. Unfortunately, do not have a game today, man. But just want to, ask you, man, how you're feeling about the team, how you feel about the offseason. Are you optimistic going into this season? What are your concerns, man? The floor is yours to go after it. Let's get it.
Well, the one thing about it is that obviously I'm excited just like everyone else is. I mean, this is great to finally feel that excitement for Trojan football again. The one thing that I can honestly say is that you could see, I've always believed in Riley from the beginning. You got to trust, my thing was trust the process and continue to believe in what they're doing and what they're trying to build. But the key behind this is Jen Cohen, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. She's the one that runs this show, and without her, we would not be where we're at now. So her and Riley and this whole team has been built, and now you can see this whole thing being built right before our eyes, and it's amazing. The one thing is this 2025 class that we have coming in. There's amazing guys like Gus Cordova is one of my favorites. I know he came in a little late, and it's going to be a while probably before you see him on the big stage there. But there's a lot of guys like Alex Graham, Tristan Castro, these big time players there. For some reason, the 2025 class, it reminds me of 2002 when the Trojans, man, were starting to turn that corner and become that big time program. And that's where we're at right now. It's the foundation. And when we got this #1 recruiting class coming in 2026, that's the one thing that we're all excited about. And for some reason, everybody doubted us. Everybody said these kids were going to stick around and they were going to start just jumping ship. And next thing you know, we look and they're still all committed. So let's go ahead and cross it.
It's only March.
I know, but
it's only April. It's only August.
Yeah, but the one thing is that you look at it. I look for balance when I look at a solid football program, and we're starting to get that balance. The one thing is obviously we have questions about the running game. We want to know who's going to be that guy to step up. Is it going to be Eli? Is it going to be Wayman? And we just don't know yet. And fight on, Tim. Fight on, Gabe. Anyway, so those are the guys that we're looking at is that consistency in the backfield. The offensive line, obviously, people still have some questions about that. But I am a firm believer in watching these guys overcome what they overcame last year, where they were just getting manhandled. And then towards the middle of the year, you could see them start developing. And now we have some grizzled vets in there, like Elijah Page, who I think is going to have a massive year as All-American written all over him. And our wideouts are the foundation of this offense. You got Mekhi Lemon, folks, and Jacoby Lane, the alpha and the omega, I call them. These guys are future first-round picks. They're going to be playing on Sunday, and I tell you, the future is so bright for these guys. And don't be surprised if you watch Mekhi this year on special teams as well, excel and probably bring a couple back. That's how talented he is. I've never seen a player that is able to just have those moves, sort of like a Warwick Dunn type of guy, like a Michael Vick with those moves. He's so smooth with that. And Jacoby's just completely unstoppable. Some of the softest hands I've seen in years, probably since I mean, maybe Keyshawn or Randy Moss or something. Those big mitts, man. He's able just to grab those balls out of the air. But then you look, one thing that I worry about too, I mean, we can go on and on, Preston, about the defense. Yeah. Everybody's been talking about this solid defense. And what I look at is the depth that we've acquired on this defense. Last year, there were times that we were in games and we were fighting there. But Gavin, man, that guy left his heart out there. A lot of these guys that just Mason Cobbs, they were great guys. They just didn't have that next level ability to be able to get us over the hump. And this year, you look at it now with the depth that we have. I really, guys, I mean, honestly, and the strength and conditioning coach that we brought on board as well, I'm really anxious to see the benefits of having those mentors coaching these young guys. But the one thing is that I worry about too, I'm not going to lie, I worry about our red zone offense. I want to see if maybe we can start hitting those tight ends and getting our tight ends involved. I want to be able to our special teams as well. I mean, who's going to be that guy? I don't want to be missing field goals this year. I want to make sure we're perfect in all areas, and that's when it comes to balance. And that's the whole thing, is to be able to be balanced and be able to excel in times where we need to, like in the fourth quarters.
Yeah, for sure, man. You spoke on a lot there. I love where you started with Jen Cohen, right? It really seems like Jen Cohen, just a winner as an AD, man. The woman wants to win. She's been a winner in the past. Just seems like she's really reinvigorated, not just the football program, but every program at USC. Extremely involved, right there while everything's going down. Love what she's doing. Also, respectfully, Mrs. Jen Cohen looked to be in excellent shape, man. I think she's getting on runs, going up, running miles in the morning, man. She's strong. She's ready to go. Great AD. She's doing a great job. Got to speak on personally my guy, Chad Bowden, man. I've talked about this a couple of times, but I'm saying, man, came in, his attitude from day one, exactly what I wanted to hear. Me and Chad are a year apart in age. He grew up watching exactly the same USC teams that I grew up watching. And it just has the mentality, man, knows exactly what this program can do, and remembers when it was, the shiny new toy in college football that everybody once remembers. Kind of got away from that a little bit with the struggles, obviously with the unfair sanctions and whatnot. But just love the energy, love the youth that his team brings, the effort and the hunger that they bring as a recruiting staff. There's nothing like it, man. And really just set the stage for what is possible for this program, what is possible for the university. World-class city, the possibilities of getting a degree at the school, and really, what being good, what having a good football team can do for the city and do for oneself being a part of the program. Another thing I want to speak on is Big Ten acclimation, man. And this is kind of why I'm so high on the team going into this year in a lot of different aspects. The coaching staff, as well as the players, were in an acclimation state last season. New conference, right? Playing in new venues, going up against new schemes. You had Dan Lynn come over from across town as a new university. Obviously, had only spent 1 year at FUCLA. And, he comes over, does an excellent job. We get 10 less points a game on defense. Defense does a great job, elevates, even with a lack of depth, even with the lack of talent that we had last season. And even in particular, right, this is why there's a lot of USC fans, this offseason, last season, the season prior, that we're not too high on Lincoln Riley, right? They're saying, oh, we're regressing. What's going on, man? That 11-3 team that we saw with Caleb's first year, Caleb wins the Heisman, right? Very opportunistic defense that you can remember, was constantly getting turnovers, had a lot of ballers back there. A couple of NFL players back there. You had Paulie on defense, but that defense was not even as good as the defense or as consistent as the defenses we saw last season with the 7-6 USC team. So that was where I saw the progression, man. I think there's just a lot of acclimation. Got a bunch of transfers in the fold now. Last season, we're coming into the season with about 3 defensive linemen over 300 pounds. Now we're coming in with around 7 around that mark, over that mark. A lot of experience in the secondary. You bring in Bishop Fitzgerald, you bring in DJ Harvey. The youth on the defensive line is kind of elevating with Cam Fountain. I'm big on Braylon Shelby, man. I think I've seen him improve last season. I think he's going to take another jump this season. Obviously, you got Eric Gentry that was able to kind of find another gear last year. Unfortunately, was able to stay healthy. I think he stays healthy this year and is a big impact player for us. Desmond Stevens comes in as a freshman and balls out, flashes, kind of a guy that we get late in the recruiting cycle, but comes in and does an excellent job recruiting the wide receiver core, top big time wide receiver core. Two receivers now. USCJ in the chat. What's good, bro? Two receivers in here right here. When you talk about McKylum, when you talk about Jacoby Lane, that encompass every skill that one could really want in a receiver, bro. You got a 6'4" cat with huge hands that could go up like Randy Moss, catch circus balls. He'll dance on you. He's got swag. And then you got a consistent Steve Smith-like character that can, get bubble screens, return kicks, solid, consistent outside, consistent inside. Could put him in the slot, move him all around like a little chess piece in Mekhi Lemon. I think he's going to have an excellent year. And, even, some young guys you talked about going in this season, about 6-7, months ago about you being very high on Alex Graham, right? Yes. You have that video on your channel right now talking about why you saw the maturity, you saw the level that he was playing at the high school level. And now coaches come out, Belt comes out, Lynn comes out. Lynn compares him to Kamari Ramsey, who might be the best player on this entire roster. And, says he could be really a leader of this defense in the future. And then you got a wild card now. Okay, let me speak on something. I don't know if you're aware of this. I noticed something yesterday at Salute to Troy. Jakeem Stewart was in a boot on his right ankle. Now, I don't know how serious that is. I don't know if we got a lot of big time celebrities in the chat. I don't know if they have any inside information on that. I'm not going to panic because we have a lot of depth, right? And like I said, we talked the other day. I said Jakeem is the icing on the cake, man. I'm very excited to see what he could do. So that is unfortunate. Hopefully it's not too serious, but I did see him in a boot yesterday. But very excited, about the running game. Eli Sanders, Waymo Jordan, B-Jack the Bruiser.
Harry Dalton. You got Harry Dalton that eventually will be in the mix as well. One thing, Preston, I want to chime in on is everybody, man, this guy's had the hardest time coming up through this Trojan program, and that's Jaden Mayava. And one thing we talk about it in length, that we are a firm believer in this guy. Everybody had their doubts here and there, but honestly, you look at the way I judge players like Alex Graham is the way they interview and the way they conduct themselves behind the mic. And it's basically from the neck up, man. They show that intelligence. And one thing Jaden lacked last year, he was just so shy, so reserved. But now I see him in his interviews, and he's so confident. And the guy's able to just talk with this confidence and know it's like he has his command of the program. I can honestly see him throwing for 30 touchdowns this year. And I you think about it, if you have some big wins on the road against some of these teams we're playing, the sky's the limit for this young kid and for this offense. Completely. You got guys like Walker Lyons that we have yet to mention, this tight end room, and which is loaded as well. And one thing that shows how serious these players are about this program is Kamari Ramsey. For him to decide to give up that NFL money and to come back and give it another shot, what does that tell you right there, man? That's him and Gentry both are the heartbeat of that defense, and I can't wait to see what they got, man.
Yeah, no doubt, man. No doubt. When you talk about like Mayava, one thing I liked about Mayava, even when he came into the season last year, right? I was a big Miller Moss guy. Respect to Miller Moss. Never forget that LSU game. Never forget the type of situations that he was in last year and kind of just figured it out. Offensive line was a struggle at times last year, and like I kind of feel bad for him at times, right? But Mayava comes in, and that Nebraska game. Throws a pick. I think did he throw 2 picks in that game? I think he threw 2 picks in that game.
Two picks in that game.
A fumble as well, right? I believe. And he kind of hung his head a little bit. But after that, as a quarterback, man, you got to lead the troops, man. Even if you throw a pick, you got to keep your head up. Mm-hmm. And that's like the fight that Mayava showed, through the end of the season, even into that Texas A&M game. He had his head up, fought, effing, man. I threw a pick. Let's move on. Let's get to the next point. And I kind of saw glimpses of that last season. So very excited about what we're going to see this upcoming season and just his mentality, his attitude on game days and his ability to bounce back, man. Because he's been through it, man. He's been through a little, quasi mini quarterback controversy type of situation. And then he had a situation in the bowl game where it was looked like a terrible, probably one of the worst games of the kid's career, bounces back and has a little bit of that clutch gene, bro. Has a little bit of that. Do I dare say he has a little Brady in there, buddy? You know what I'm saying? Like, has some in him, bro. And that's why I hedge my bets on Jaden, bro. There's something there that I kind of just feel is a little special. It's a little magical. We call my album magic, right?
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Preston. I'm with you. And then, the thing is, he finally gets that 1 year off season under his belt. The guy went from, like I said, tossing beer cans to his uncles on the beach, grilling beef and having barbecues to just, go into the UNLV program and really not just working on pure raw athletic ability, not knowing what he's doing, comes in, to us and really, like I said, it was just a lot of athletic, just raw, just talent that he had. But he was handpicked by Lincoln, and Lincoln handpicks guys for a reason. And we know that. We know Miller wasn't his guy, but he handpicked Jaden, and I have to believe in, Riley is the expert. I'm not. So, for Riley to say, this is my guy and I'm sticking with him, we'll see how that goes. But I'm looking at the balance part of it with the receivers, the tight ends, and the running backs we have. We should see a nice balanced offense this year. And that's what I'm excited to see, man. And, the offensive linemen are going to be fine. Everybody's flipping out about that. I am not worried about it at all. Yeah, of course, you worry a little bit, but when it comes down to it, these kids are going to be fine, man. These coaches that we have on this coaching staff. I don't think in my lifetime I've ever seen such an all-star group of coaches like this. And I mean, from everything from Rob Ryan, man, I got to see that guy up close when my brother covered the Raiders. I don't know how many times I've said this, but to see him coach and in person and the way these players will just die for this guy and Coach Henney and I mean Belk and Simmons never gets any love. No one ever gives him any love at all.
People love Simmons, man. You hear Booby Feaster, all these kids that recruit Corey Sims. Like I said the other day, I'm like, people love Coach Simmons, man. Jacoby, all these. He has great relationship with these wide receivers and
puts guys in the NFL too, Preston.
Exactly. That's why, though. Exactly. That's why the relationship piece and the development piece. It seems like Coach Simmons is doing a great job. But as far as go ahead. Oh
no, sorry, Preston. But the last thing I wanted to say, was for me to consider this program finally at a point where I'm saying, okay, we're back. Is obviously we need to win. Second of all, we need to be able to have like these programs like the Alabamas and the Georgias where they lose these all-star coaches and then they're able just to replace them and plug them in with a guy that's just as effective. And it's really, you don't lose a step. And that's what I want. Right now, we're kind of, oh my God, what if we lose this guy or what if we lose this guy? What are we going to do? So that I've yet to see how we're going to transition with that. But what's going to happen. We got hot prospects like Belk and, Danton is going to people going to want to come after him as well. So we'll see what happens, man.
Yeah. In regards to what I will say is, in regards to the offensive line, is if the line is what I think it's going to be, I'm not really worried. I think, the camaraderie, the ability to fight together, a lot of these guys coming out of that 2023 class, kind of dealing with adversity overall, right? Whether it was injuries, whether it was, Elijah Page being put on scout team, I don't know if you remember that situation where I think it was his freshman year being put on scout team. Henson put him on scout team. Hey, figure it out, man. You're not doing, you're not performing. You're not practicing the way you need to be practicing. And, going through that, fighting through that. Then, going into the season as a starter last year, kind of figuring things out and going up and down. And same thing with Alani Noah. And, if Micah Benuelos is in the fold, if Tobias Raymond as well, just developing his body and turn into the monster that he is now, possibly looking at, starting at the left guard spot. And then Justin Taunu, a whole nother thing,
I love that guy.
Unbelievable athlete, stepped in there, at the tackle position, the bowl game looked like it's going to be a future Pro Bowl or something like that. Just a monster at the position. So, man, very excited. And Jen we trust. This is facts, Tim.
Yes, you got that right. No, let me ask you guys this. Would it be too much to ask for us Trojan fans to see that one person that runs out of the tunnel, game day? Would it be okay to see Jen run out with the team? Or would you rather see maybe Chad run out with the team? I don't know. Maybe the guys could help us out with that.
That's an interesting concept.
I'd like to see Jen run out with that team. She's the one she's a big part of this, the main, and I'd love to see that, to be honest with you.
That is a very interesting concept. Have you ever seen an AD run out with the team or like renewed?
No, I don't think I have. No.
Yeah. Hey man, I'd be for it. I wouldn't care. Jen Cohen, I would buy her a Birkin bag right now if I could, bro. Like, let's get it going. Like, hey Jen, you can pick anything you want, man. My girl will be mad at me. All right, so we're gonna continue a little bit with the SC stuff. We're gonna get into impact players, right?
Yeah.
And this is my list when we talk about impact players, man. On the offensive side, I would love to see Jaden Maava be, the offensive MVP. I think he's going to have a great season. I think we're going to see an even bigger jump this season from Makai Lemon, man. Obviously was out a little bit with the injuries with that terrible play that I saw live at the Michigan game, that illegal block, man, that took him out and kind of dealt with some nicks and knacks. But when he got in the return game was a difference maker, bro. It was night and day. Night and day on that front. Super consistent as a receiver. And I think he's going to elevate his game even more. I have him scoring the most touchdowns. I made a video on this, scoring the most touchdowns on this roster this upcoming season. So super excited to see for what we're going to see from Lemon, as well as Lemonade in general, man. I think Jacoby's going to have a great year as well. Defensive MVP, I got Eric Gentry. Eric Gentry, knock on my wall. I'm not even going to say nothing else, man. He's going to be a baller for us this year. He is going to be DCs are going to be trying to figure it out, bro. Because there's really nothing you could do with him, bro. Even if he's backed up in the middle of the field, he could bat down a ball because he's got a 7-foot wingspan. He could chase people down. He's got nice speed. He can make tackles like a problem, man. How many times have we seen this dude make plays, whether it's, ASU, whether it's Cal, that LSU game, gave us a chance to win that Michigan game. Just one of the most unbelievable and unique football players I've ever seen. Kind of reminds me of like a throwback, right? I was watching the Dallas Cowboys documentary last night, and they were talking about Charles Haley and stuff like that, and just his size and his length. And like, I know they're not similar players, but just somebody that makes a difference, man. You just got to be out there. He's going to make a big difference. Like in some type of way, he's going to figure out a way to make it happen. Cam Fountain, I got as my most improved. One of probably the guy I was most excited about in the 2024 class. Came out of Georgia, came on campus looking like a Pro Bowler, a defensive end prototype, 6'6", 250 pounds. He's about 265 pounds right now at the DN spot, rocking that number 1. So he's looking very nice out there. He's going to be looking really good on Saturdays, and just had great discipline, bro. Kind of seems like he was light years ahead of himself. That coupled with, I think Coach Henney got him there. Coach Nua got him there. And we were able to see a lot of nice glimpses from him when he was able to get that PT last season. But I think he elevates even more this season and probably leads this team in sacks. And then a sleeper, man. A lot of people people on my channel, they have grilled me and cooked me on the stove and sauteed my ass about these Braylon Shelby takes. But I don't know what to tell you, man. When you look at all the games, including the bowl game, Braylon Shelby was tied with the most sacks on the team with Easton Mascarenas Arnold. Made big plays against Michigan. Made a hell of a play against Notre Dame, getting off that block and making that tackle on that running back. Made big plays against LSU. He's got NFL DNA. His brother's an NFL player. I love Braylon Shelby. He's got great size, great athleticism as well. And man, these are my guys that I'm most excited about. These are my picks for offensive MVP, defensive MVP, sleeper, and most improved. Now, Paulie, let's get into your picks.
Let's get in it. But you know what? Going back to your Eric Gentry pick.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they don't realize how similar he is to Cam Chancellor, who played for the Seattle Seahawks. The versatility, the height, the speed, all of it. Grant Chancellor probably was a little bit more powerful, but at the same time, Gentry has that deceptive power, man, that strength where guys have a really tough time with him, But anyway, here we go, man. My Impact Trojans. Yeah. Obviously, Mr. Jaden Maava. I've grown to love this young man. And Mr. Mayava looks like he's going to have a breakout season this year, just because these guys are so competitive, and I mean, even myself, I mean, just all of us, we have that competitive fire in us. But for him to look at these rankings when it comes to the quarterbacks, I know he has to feel disrespected, and I know he's motivated by that as well. He wants to do well for his teammates. I see the way that, just on social media, him hanging out with the guys now, and why the way he walked out with those cornrows and his confidence doing his interviews. I was like, yeah, we go. That's my guy. He's just if he can cut down these mistakes, which I know he probably will, he has a better understanding of what Riley wants and what Riley expects out of him. And so I look for him to, honestly, you never know. You never know. I know we'll get into it in a later segment, but obviously I think very highly of this young man. And I look for him, like I said, he has all the potential in the world. Could probably throw for 30 touchdowns against some of these defenses that we're playing this year. And we'll get into Jaden a little later. But my defensive MVP is Mr. Kamari Ramsey. Dude, he is hands down the heartbeat of this team. He's a leader on and off the field. The guy, he's strong with his faith. The guy is just, I mean, everything you could want in a teammate and a captain. That guy is just hands down what you want in a football player, and especially a USC representative. This guy's amazing. I think the world of Kamari. I mean, this is first round NFL talent we're talking about here. The versatility he has, the IQ on the field, everything, the leadership. He leads by example, man. That guy's out there diving around, making plays. I mean, I don't know how many games he kept us in last year just by making some big time plays. And you know what? When it comes down to it, when teams are driving, I have that feeling. He's that player that gives me that feeling inside that says, you know what? Kamari's going to make something happen here. For sure. Most improved is I'm a big linebacker guy. And Mr. Desmond Stevens to me is I mean, it's like, God, I haven't been this excited since maybe junior. And the reason, I'm not saying he's exactly like junior, but the one thing about Desmond is you see the talent. That interception he had last year, those soft hands. Linebackers usually have hands of stone. They're dropping balls. But this guy, man, and not only that, the ability he had when he was running, trying to juke around and showing some athletic ability running it back. I was blown away from that moment on. And just his knowledge, his versatility, just be able to process information. Rob Ryan is going to work wonders with this kid. That's one thing about a Rob Ryan, linebacking unit is he loves versatility. He loves guys that are able to attack from different angles, different spots on the field, and there's no doubt in my mind you're going to see a huge jump. He just has that maturity level that we're talking about that a lot of guys just don't have yet. But Desmond's a great guy, and you look at him when they interviewed him earlier, in this during spring ball and all that. He had the short hair and everything. He looked like he came out of boot camp, like some military boot camp. And then my sleeper, I know he's probably not going to see a lot of time, maybe some Quentin Joyner type time if somebody gets injured, whatever the case. But I am very high on Harry Dalton. His ability, there's something about him, his running style, his vision is what really blows me away when I see highlights of him and him able to see, like I said, from both sides and be able to know when to cut. There's not a lot of players that can do that. I mean, I know Barry Sanders had the best vision of all running backs, but this guy, there's a lot of them out there that have that excellent vision, and he's on the way. If he can get it all together and stuff, and maybe, who knows, he might be able to contribute this year in some spots, but that's a big sleeper for me right there.
Yeah, and when you talk about Harry Dalton too, like, I know he's kind of been working a little bit in the return game and practice, and as well as like the fact that he played Wildcat quarterback in high school, right?
Yes,
so you know how Lincoln likes to mess around with the trickery a little bit. I think if we see some trickery, maybe some late game trickery, maybe some trickery that needs to happen in a close game to kind of throw somebody off this year, I think we might possibly see a glimpse of Dalton in some trickery that Lincoln wants to do, just because, he has that versatility playing Wildcat quarterback and doing a lot of various things in high school. And to be honest, there is a few different cats on this team that played quarterback in high school. A lot of these younger players were all over the field in this, freshman class. So, yeah, man, I love it. Now let's get into our Big Ten brethren as we look at Big Ten Football Power Rankings Index 2025 via ESPN. And we're going to methodically kind of go through these things, man, from 1 to 18. And, let's see how funny it is as we go, right? But we got Ohio State, obviously, coming off the national championship. Still, Ryan Day and them boys still can't get off that Michigan bug, though. They still can't figure that one out, which is really unbelievable. Michigan fans will constantly bring that up. But, big game against Texas week 1. Obviously, have two of the top players in the country. We talk about safety, Caleb Downs, Jeremiah Smith, that wide receiver, possibly one of the greatest freshman years we've ever seen in the history of football. People from all ages and, all around the country understand that. Really a talent at the wide receiver position. And they're bringing in a California kid as a freshman quarterback named Julian Sayin as the starting quarterback. Week 1 against Texas. The kid was, 5 for 12 last year, 84 yards and a touchdown. They're going to be good on defense. They got a big, solid offensive line. They got wideouts. Hartline does a great job with the wideouts. Laurinaitis does a great job with the linebackers. They got a nice team over there in Columbus. I'm not gonna lie. You feel me? I hear it from my girl's family all the time, bro, because they're from there. But I think they're gonna be as good as Julian Sayin is. You know what I'm saying? I think his performance as a freshman quarterback in the Big Ten, going up against that schedule, going up against those defenses that he has to play, whether it's in conference or out of conference games this upcoming season, is really going to be how good they could be as a team. And it's going to be interesting to see how they perform as a team and how they navigate the Big Ten. But definitely going to be one of the best teams in the country, no doubt, man. How do you feel about Ohio State?
You know what? Well, obviously they got
projected to win 10 wins. By the way, I missed that. Yeah. Projected 10 wins via ESPN.
Yeah, definitely. They're always going to be consistent, when it comes to winning. Obviously, facing Bryce Underwood, I have a feeling he's going to run all over him for some reason. And they got to solve the Michigan thing, like you said. And as far as Julian Sayin goes, the guy's about 6'1". The one concern that I know people have about him is his body really doesn't. The frame isn't the type of frame where he can put on weight. So they're a little concerned about that. But the guy does have have some talent. But you know what? Is it the type of talent that's going to come in and be like a Matt Barkley or somebody that's going to come in and really just command that offense from day one? I don't know. I've watched some tape on him, and the guy is really good, but who knows? We'll see. The Big Ten's a whole nother monster, man. So we'll see how he does that. But James Peoples, that guy, he was a third running back last year. That was a running back group that those two guys are playing in the NFL right now. So he's definitely looking to have a breakout year. But, and like you said, Caleb Downs, to me, the transfer from Alabama, had a solid year. I think that guy's going to be all right. But something about Ryan Day, I don't know. I think he didn't win until Chip got there. I'm not going to say he's not a good coach, but for some reason, I feel he gets outcoached sometimes in some of these bigger games. But we'll see about them, man. I don't know. And what team we're going to jump on next year?
Yeah, man. And next we going to head to Penn State, a team that we were beating at halftime. Last year, USC in the Coliseum.
Oh God!
Projected, lost the game. By 3 points in OT. Dare I say, man, Tyler Warren.
We made him a first-round pick.
Dare I say, Tyler Warren? Right, projected 10 wins. Coming into this season via ESPN. Number 1 team in the conference, in my personal opinion, right now. And I'm not gonna lie, man. Drew Aller made me eat crow last year. I remember doing my Penn State preview like it was yesterday. I was like, oh, Drew Aller, he just started playing. He got good at quarterback when he was in his last year of high school. He ain't real. Hey, he developed, and I'm big on Drew Aller this year, man. I think the way that Orange Bowl ended, the way that season ended, how he kind of that pass he threw and stuff like that, like, he's going to try to avenge that. And really, why I'm so high on this team is I think USC could honestly have the best rushing attack in America. But when it comes to Penn State, if we're number 1, I would put them number 2 with Katron Allen and my guy Singleton, man. Like this running back room is no joke, man. Top 2 running back room in the country. They pick up Pena, the wide receiver from Syracuse. I think this is, maybe the year James Franklin kind of figures it out. Kind of, is able to get very close to the big one, if not get the big one. And yeah, they're consistent. They got some good linebackers, some good talent. The outside talent is something that I think that's kind of like their weaker point. Obviously, Kyron Hudson came over. You remember Kyron Hudson, one of the greatest catches I've ever seen in my life against LSU last year. He is now on that team in their wide receiver core, but really like their running back room. And yeah, that's really all I have to say about Penn State. I think they're going to be a pretty solid team this year. And yeah, I think they're going to be all right.
Yeah. So one thing about Penn State is, Zariah Fisher to be the defensive end. That guy has the makings of a breakout star. And Drew Aller, I know we're on completely. We talked about this the other day. I am the complete opposite of what Preston was saying when it comes to Penn State. It is just so hard for me to be able to consider this a top tier, like a number one in the country type of program, because I've yet to see James Franklin or Penn State win any big game. Anytime they are favorites to win, or whatever the case may be, they always come up short. But one thing I noticed about this program, besides Micah Parsons and Saquon Barkley, what NFL players have they really developed to that next level? The guys that do get drafted really don't pan out very well. I mean, Joey Porter Jr. maybe, but he's just kind of a, just a fringe type of player. He's not a superstar. But for as much talent as they have, it's a little shocking to me the way that the development of some of those guys is kind of like an Oregon type thing for me. When they go in the NFL, they really don't do a whole lot. But this is a big year for Drew Aller. Obviously, he made a name for himself against us and Ty Warren, and that still just kills me, man, because we made that guy a first-round draft pick. That guy just tore us up. But going back to it, I still have my I just cannot go and bring myself to make him the number one overall team. But we'll see. This could possibly, like you said, it could be a whole thing where Franklin comes out on top and proves us all wrong. Because this year is the one year that I've seen this top 25. It's just everything is so balanced to where, I mean, anybody can probably win this year. You just don't know. If you get hot, there's no one dominant team to me.
Yeah, definitely a lot of parity. There's no doubt in that. Next up, man, I'm not even gonna say their name. We got the Zeros at number 3 in the power rankings, projected 9 wins via ESPN. Dante Moore, projected starting quarterback. I don't see it. I don't see the talent. I've watched a few Big Ten specials, a few things on these losers not too long ago, this week and whatnot. I don't see the talent coming out of there. They dealt with some big time injuries, lost Evan Stewart, lost the incoming safety. Forget the kid's name, man. The incoming freshman safety, forgot his name. But let's just talk about quarterback play, right? Let's talk about development of quarterbacks at Oregon. Obviously they Gabriel's out. He's transferred in. They had Nix before that transferred in. Will Stein. I think Will Stein is a solid OC. I think he's a pretty good OC, but hasn't proven to be able to produce or really get quarterbacks, develop them to become great quarterbacks, right? He's kind of just been bringing them in, putting them out, bringing them in, putting them out. So they're gonna have to show me how good Dante Moore is, or the other kid Voldesad or whatever it is. 3 out of their 5 old linemen are transfers. I know one of their transfers. I'm not even gonna bring his name up. He's not even worth mentioning. He's dead to me. They got a pretty good solid D line. Mateo is a real one. I can't lie. Mateo is a real one. Had 10 sacks last year. They got another little bear cub on their defensive line. I don't think it's going to be very good. I think he's a little overrated. And but they do have some younger defensive linemen that I like. But that's really all I gotta say about them. I don't even want to talk about them anymore, man. How you feel about
to answer Kristen's comment here when he's talking about Penn State, what I mean is under James Franklin. Yeah, they had some guys under Paterno that played great, but yeah, under James Franklin, they really haven't had anyone. But when it comes to Oregon, all I can say is you got one guy, an offensive lineman that gets punched in the face and doesn't retaliate, and then you got one guy that quits on his teammates, and you got a coach who jumps in a swimming pool. That's all I gotta say about Oregon. There's really not a whole lot. You know what I mean? Okay, going back, this program has yet to show me anything when it comes to having a national championship pedigree. Man, that guy, they haven't won anything. The big games, they do come up short. They don't develop well in the NFL. There's maybe a couple players here and there that are decent, but for the most part, they don't translate well in the NFL. I mean, that goes all the way back to Achilles Smith and Joey Harrington and Deion Jordans, and I can keep going on and on and on. Yeah,
Deion Jordan. As a Dolphins fan, Deion Jordan. I really be wondering, bro, is Deion Jordan just like in a Publix or a Target somewhere across America?
Yeah, he was at Trader Joe's the other day.
No, it was Trader Joe's. The number 3 pick for my Miami Dolphins, the biggest bust. One of the biggest busts in the history of the NFL, and particularly for the Miami Dolphins, man. Disgusting. Deion Jordan.
Deion Jordan. But there's not a whole lot I even have to say about that program. You got, the Mateo, who is probably one of the best defensive linemen in college football. He's ranked like 20th, but for the most part, I don't see where or how Dan Lanning became regarded or was just regarded as one of the best, coaches in defensive minds or defensive mind in college football. I don't know how that happened. I know he was a great assistant, but as a head coach, I've seen him come up short quite a bit.
Yeah. So, all right, and number 4, we got our Trojans. We kind of just talked about SC. Everybody, we rocking with SC over here. Projected at 8.7 wins, so basically around 9 wins. I got us winning 10 wins. We're not really going to go into SC because we just spoke for about 20 minutes about SC. So we're going to go ahead and skip to Michigan. Michigan projected at the same amount of wins as us. I think I'm higher than most on Michigan. I think there's a few people that are pretty high on Michigan, man. Really like Haynes coming over from Alabama at the running back. Dude is a dog. They're gonna have a good defense. They got good pass rushers. They're gonna have a good offensive line. It's gonna come down to Bryce Underwood, right? How good is Bryce Underwood? That defensive scheme is gonna be a sucker, man. Wink Martindale does an excellent job. Same type of defense that Dan Lynn likes to run. They're going to get after it. And I got us winning the game against Michigan. But if it was in Michigan, I would be a little iffy on it. The fact that it is in the Coliseum this time is why I have us winning that game. I think Michigan is going to be a lot better than people think. Just very interested to see how Bryce Underwood's, first freshman year, kind of unfolds, right? How is he able to adjust to new defensive schemes? How is he able to, is he going to be trying to run around like he was in high school? Is going to be able to, stay healthy. So that's how I kind of feel about Michigan. I think they could be a pretty good team this upcoming season. How do you feel?
Yeah, you know what, Bryce Underwood to me, I'm really curious. He actually, there was a point where I think he was interested in USC, but USC passed on him for some reason. I don't know what it was, but I'm kind of curious to see what he's all about, and I know he has a lot of talent, but you look at the way Michigan, it's like next man up. There's that type of program they're starting to get to that point now where they went through that Harbaugh year, and Harbaugh was great at probably one of my favorite coaches, to be honest with you, at that NFL level. I mean, you look at everything he's done throughout his career, and plus he was a former Raider, and when he didn't have a job and had nowhere to go, Al Davis kind of brought him along. But that's a whole nother story. Getting back to Michigan, the way that program has been built, it's in the trenches. And you look right now at Cameron Brand and Derek Moore, those two edges that they have right now. Those guys bring a lot of heat, and the offensive line, they've recruited well. They got the number 1 recruit. I forgot his name out of Missouri. He's one of the top offensive linemen.
He got hurt though. He got hurt.
Yeah, top footer. Yeah. So with that, those are things. They're just going to continue to come at it. If it was at Michigan, I'd be a little hesitant, but I will be there at that game, October 11th, and I can't wait to see us. See that battle, man. But we'll see. I think they're going to be in the mix, believe it or not. I think they're in Ohio State's head, and if they can get past that game and maybe win a few here and there and kind of avoid those trap games, I think Michigan will be in the hunt.
Yeah, for sure. Now, Indiana, big time season last year. Won 11 games. They had won 9 in the previous 3 years. So did a very good job. A lot of guys coming back on defense from last season. They had the second most efficient defense in the entire country last year. Now we're seeing Fernando Mendoza, man. I know this kid, Christopher Columbus High School in Miami, Florida. He's coming out of Christopher Columbus, was at Cal. He was a quarterback in that Cal game a couple years ago where it was like triple overtime. That triple overtime game against USC. Where we figured out a way to win that game. That was a terrible game. But not too high on Fernando Mendoza, if I'm being honest. He's kind of a bit of a statue in the pocket. And I think Indiana had a gift of a schedule, man. A gift of a schedule last season where they were kind of able to make things shake like that. That is not the case this upcoming season for them. So I don't expect them to be very good. They're projected 8 wins here via ESPN. I don't see that. But how you feeling about Indiana?
To answer Tina's question here about the tailgate for the Michigan game, Tina, stay at the end of the show. We're going to have some great tailgate information for you. But coming into the Indiana, Signetti, Fernando Mendoza, they're really banking on this guy becoming this. I mean, the guy he was a pretty high-ranked high school player, but the one thing about him, I watched a lot of Cal Berkeley games last year, and especially against Miami when he pretty much blew that game. The guy just is very inconsistent. Obviously, everybody thinks Signetti's going to be able to change people around. But one thing they do is they have Elijah Surratt, who is probably one of the best receivers in the Big Ten. The guy's, phenomenal. And you team him up with Omar Cook. I mean, that guy, that's really something Mendoza could probably work with. And being in that offense, and that whole program's changing. And the one guy that I love is Aiden Fisher, the linebacker. It's just that tough guy, man, that tough guy that's all over the field, making plays. His nose is everything. I mean, he's like a Luke Kuechly type of guy running all around and right by the ball every time. So we'll see where Indiana ends up. I'm curious to see if they can what year 2 is going to be like, and we'll see what happens with them.
Yep. And now we got another one, man. A team that a lot of people are high on. I think is going to take a bit of a jump this year as well. Nebraska, right? USC has Nebraska on the road. It's going to be a tough game. One of the tougher games on the schedule. Dylan Raiola coming into his sophomore season. Interested to see how his maturation process is. Kind of just looked disinterested last year. I was a little unimpressed by how he was able to deal with adversity, at least from a bird's eye view. Obviously, I don't know the kid. I wasn't in the locker room with the kid. I'm not in practice with the kid or in the film room with the kid. But from a bird's eye view, kind of just looked sulky and like he wasn't really about it when things got tough last season for Nebraska. Tony White is out at DC, which I'm not really a fan of. I thought Tony White was a very good defensive coordinator for them. They also had some big boys on that defensive line last year that are in the NFL. Daniel Holgerson, obviously over there. Ja'Cory Barney, a wide receiver from Miami Palmetto High School, very familiar with him. He's a little bit of outside talent that they have. I think they're going to be better. I don't think they're going to be that good, though. ESPN have them at 7 games this upcoming season. How do you feel about Nebraska?
Nebraska to me is probably one of the most more underrated teams, not only in the Big Ten but in the country. Matt Rule to me he's a really solid college coach. But Daniel Holgerson to me is the one guy that's going to make he's going to make such a big difference in that program. And the reason I say it is he specializes in development. This guy has that one talent. He's kind of like a poor man's Lincoln Riley when it comes to quarterbacks. When he was at Houston, he developed Case Keenum into, Case Keenum really was, didn't have a lot of talent, but he developed him. Then when he was at Texas Tech, he developed Kingsbury into, a fringe pro quarterback. And then at Oklahoma State, he took Brandon Weeden, who was already like 24, 25 years old, and turned him into a first-round pick with the Dallas Cowboys. But that's one thing that he's going to do with Raiola is Raiola has all the talent in the world. He did have somewhat of I don't want to say attitude problems or issues or anything like that, but he was somewhat hard to manage, and Holgerson's going to be the right guy to develop him. And as far as some of the weapons that they have, they do have a couple of wideouts that they've really put in the mix there. But the one guy that on the defensive side of the ball, and just because his dad was a really great running back in the NFL, and that's Willis McGahee IV. Willis McGahee IV he's a really brash, kind of really confident, cocky guy, plays defensive end, and can kind of move around the line there. But the guy has a lot of talent. and he'll definitely be making an impact for the Huskers this year.
Yeah. Now we got Iowa, man, projected at 6.5 wins. I do not agree with that. I think they're going to be a lot better than that. I think they're going to hit that 8-game mark, man. They've won 8 games every single year since 2015, minus the COVID year, right? Kirk Ferentz over there. Defense is always good. Offensive line elite. Logan Jones at center, right? The highest graded center in all of Power 4 football. Jennings Dunker at the right tackle position. The offensive line is elite, man. It's Iowa. You already know. Like these are they produce and birth NFL offensive linemen. The defense is going to be good as well. They always got somebody back there playing safety in the secondary on the defensive line. They got this nose tackle, defensive tackle, Aaron Graves, 6 sacks last year, 3 forced fumbles. He has 12 sacks in the last 2 years. Former wrestler, a dog, man. Iowa is one of the games I have USC losing this upcoming season, unfortunately, just because I don't know, man. These guys just go out here and play football, and they fight regardless of whether they could get to a bowl game or whether it's sneaky to me, bro. It is a very sneaky game.
Definitely.
I am not excited to play them, and they're the thing that is good about playing Iowa is they're usually out of the top 120 when it comes to offense, right? So they tried to tweak that and fix that last year. They had the running back Caleb out there. You know, he did his thing. He's gone though. But that is the blessing in going up against Iowa, especially with this USC defense heading into this season. So how you feeling about Iowa?
You know what? Iowa, Addison Ostriniega. He's the tight end, 6'5", 250. Another Ty Warren that I worry about. This guy can do a little bit of everything. I watched some tape on him the other day. And that guy just kind of blew out. He was doing everything. Red zone stuff, you name it. But then you look at Preston Reese. He's a linebacker, and he's just one of these guys. He's like a workout legend, weight room legend, and the guy is just ready to take that next level. We will be playing on Sundays. He's that great. You already hit it on the offensive lineman, Logan Jones and those guys, and Piper. Those offensive linemen are ready to go. One thing about them is they are a factory for NFL offensive linemen, tight ends. And I don't know why, they've had, I could count on one hand, quarterbacks, Chuck Long, Ronnie Harmon, Tim Dwight. Those are really only the few that have gone there. So we got Gronowski, who's coming.
Yeah,
everybody's so high on this guy. But then you look at a guy like
being a USC quarterback. Yeah, right?
yeah, he possibly was. But you look at Cade McNamara, the Michigan transfer that went there a few years ago. This guy had all the talent in the world and wanted an opportunity to play, decides to go to Iowa. Basically, his career was ruined. He ended up transferring. But the quarterbacks, they just haven't had a really – you can go back to maybe Brad Banks. There's been a few guys here and there that they've been able to, to produce to that next level. But for the most part, they just always struggle there. But their offensive linemen are great. Tight ends are great. And they play hard-nosed, tough defense. We talked about this a while back. It's one of those sneaky games where it can be ugly in the fourth quarter, and we'll see what we're made of. That's a game that's going to really show me a lot about what this season's all about with the USC Trojans when we play them.
Yeah. Now we got Washington, man. Projected 7 wins. Young quarterback in Demon Williams. Pretty high on this kid. Athletic, can kind of do it all, man. Just really got to see how good he could be. Very talented. Balled out against Louisville in the bowl game. Kind of pulled a Miller Moss. They didn't throw that many touchdowns, but balled out in the bowl game. Looked very good. Jonah Coleman, who came over from AZ, is a bowling ball at the running back position, man. I've always loved that kid, even when he was in Arizona. Coleman is no joke. Saw it live. I was at that game last year where USC played him. That was a terrible experience, man. Pissed off that we lost that game. Denzel Boston at wide receiver. He's a nice wide receiver, as well as Rashid Williams. Improving the offensive line. This is a team that gave up 10 sacks to Oregon last year, right? So they had their issues for sure. But how you feel about Washington?
Washington, I don't have a whole lot to say about them. They got Adam Muhammad at running back. They got a solid quarterback, but they will be explosive on offense. Mm-hmm. There's still a way to go with that program to get them back on track again.
Yeah. Now we got Big Bad Illinois, man. This is a team.
I'm so sick of hearing about this team, Preston.
Me too, man. But we're gonna talk about them, right? Big Bad Illinois. This is a team that projected 7 wins via ESPN. So I don't know. Maybe ESPN knows something. Maybe ESPN agrees with me. I don't know. But Illinois 10-3 last year. Had a very close game against Rutgers, right? Had very close games against some teams that USC beat last year, right? And then the previous year, you know, they won 5 games, right? So last year had a 10-3 year, but I don't know, man. Like, have a bunch of production, right? 18 of 27 players on their team played 300 snaps last year that are back, right? So big time when it comes to that or returning production. Luke Altmaier, solid quarterback, bro. Do I think he's special? No. Like, I look at him, nothing too crazy. But if you keep him clean, like, he can hurt you. If you keep him clean, I think he's a top 15, top 20 quarterback in the country. They got some edges. You know, they got some guys on defense that like to blitz a lot. So they are a team like that is pretty good, right? But I don't really have them as high as most do. And I think we're going to be able to take care of business. I think it's going to be like our first real test of the season when we talk about USC. But what are your thoughts on Illinois and what type of team they're going to be this upcoming season?
Yeah, Luke Altmaier, to me, the one thing about it is that, you know, he does struggle against big time competition. He has a tendency to not protect the ball properly. The guy just gets stripped a lot. I could easily see one of our guys, you know, maybe Gentry or Lucas or Shelby, one of those guys stripping him from behind. The guy has a really bad tendency of doing that. And, you know, he's making a vow to just improve that this year. But it's a lot of talk. You know, they got that, I think it's James Thompson, the big defensive tackle. You know, these guys are raving about him. He's like 6'6", runs 20 miles an hour. But you know what? How many times do we hear that during the offseason about this guy doing this? I honestly feel that we can go in there and handle that team. I really do. Like you said, I'm with you on it. I've seen them struggle against big time competition, and but everyone's, you know, blowing them up and saying they're real. So we'll see. We'll find out. And if SC can get past that test, and Mayava has a big game, and Makai has a big game, and those guys, then we're on the right track.
For sure. Let's talk Wisconsin, man. Like, Wisconsin, I kind of feel bad for Wisconsin, man.
Wow.
They're essentially just trying to regroup, man,
Yeah.
as a complete program, right? They're trying to be tough again. Like, they're trying to modernize, you know, their run game. No more air raid. They're kind of done messing with the air raid. They're trying to go outside zone. They got Jeff Grimes in there as an OC, trying to modernize everything as far as the running game. They're really just trying to rebuild the culture, man, trying to be more physical and whatnot. Taka, you should have stayed. And yeah, they're projected to win 5 games this upcoming season. I think they're going to be very bad. And yeah, man, shouts out my dude, Luke Fickell, man.
Yeah, Luke Fickell definitely has his work cut out for him this year. He's what Billy Edwards at quarterback. And the one thing about the Wisconsin, they always prided themselves on their offensive linemen and running backs. And they were a factory for a while there, putting out those O linemen and running backs. I mean, gosh, my God, it just never ended. But, you know, you got Dylan Jones now. The guy, you know, obviously isn't a top-tier running back, but we'll see if they can get it. This is a really must-win season for Luke Fickell, so we'll see how that ends up.
Yeah, now we're heading on to Rutgers, man. We on the back bottom of this big team. Rutgers projected 6 wins. Greg Schiano out here. A lot of respect for Greg Schiano, honestly. Greg Schiano's a good ball coach, in my personal opinion. Obviously, they lose Monungai at running back. He was a nice one. One thing I do like about Rutgers, they got some really big time transfers, lower level transfers, man. Eric O'Neal, 13 sacks last year at James Madison. Bradley Weaver, 8.5 sacks, coming over from Ohio. And as far as everything else, man, the quarterback, I forgot, he has this long name.
Yeah, I got it. I got you on that one.
I'm trying to remember from last year, Kalamanakis. I didn't look at my notes. Ethan Kalamanakis loves to turn the ball over. We've seen that unfold. Loves to turn the ball over. I don't think he's really that. But they got some really nice young wide receivers, right? This is a fact, man. Ethan Strong, 22 contested catches last season. 6'3", big physical kid, and I think that's about as positive I could get when you talk about Rutgers.
Yeah, you know, Anastasios Kalikmanis, the Greek rifle. Him and his brother Dino, man, they made the transfer from Minnesota over to Rutgers. And you know, one thing about them is they got the enthusiasm, they got the fire, and the Greek community absolutely loves these guys. Opa! They love these guys, man. They are all about it. So maybe they're going to turn things around at Rutgers. I know Schiano, it's one of those programs you're going to get some tough guys out there. They do produce a couple pros here and there. Actually, one of them is playing for the Chicago Bears right now, the running back, and he's actually doing really well. So that's one thing about him. It's a tough, hard-nosed program, and I'm all about the Greek Rifle. I love the kid. Great name.
For sure. Now you got Minnesota, man. I feel like punching my wall. Projected 7 wins. They've won 4 straight bowl games, 8-5 last year. I don't really got nothing to say really about Minnesota, bro. Yeah. I think they're projected to start this freshman, Drake Lindsay. I think they're gonna be a middle of the road team this season. I think their defense is gonna be pretty solid though. They also lost their DC. Their DC is now at Miami. The name slips my mind, but yeah, the DC went to Miami. They had one of the top DC defenses last year, which is kind of crazy, right? Wasn't expecting that going into last season. 17 interceptions last season as a team as well. So I think the defense is going to be nice. It's going to be solid. But as far as on the offensive side of the ball and like weapons and whatnot, I don't think we have anything to really worry about when you talk about Minnesota. That's really all I got to say about that.
You know what? They got a guy by the name of Coy Parrish, a safety, who USC recruited really, really hard. Riley, all of them, they were all about Coy. And the only thing Coy did was intercept a pass against us last year. And after that, I was done with him. I'm like, dude, I'm over you. I don't want nothing to do with you or this program. That was disgusting to me. And that's all I gotta say. And Lindsay, obviously the guy has a lot of work. That program still, like I said, they're gonna surprise you here and there. But yeah, Coy Parrish is probably their only NFL prospect they have right now. But he's a solid safety. Probably, I think he made as a freshman, he made all Big Ten or something like that. So that's all I got to say about that program.
All right, man. So now you know what we're doing. FUCLA projected 5 wins.
Yeah.
Nico is the best part about their entire roster at this point. The best part about their entire program at this point. Defense was solid, but lost Jake Toya, lost Oladeo, lost my linebacker, the homie that went to the Browns. The name is slipping me right now, but big time linebacker prospect was drafted very high in the draft. The defense is going to be extremely sus, but I think their offense is going to be able to, have some effectiveness at times, but they're not going to be a good team, bro. It is a bare cupboard over at UCLA right now. Like, I don't see it. I think that game this year for USC is going to be a celebration for the Trojans.
Yeah, I am Nico. I have nothing else to say really at all. I mean, that's the one thing about it. It's hard for me to even talk about this team. Yeah, I'm not trying to be.
Nah, we can carry on. We can carry on.
Let's move on to the next one, man.
We're already an hour in, so we might be going to get a little quicker here. My bad. Yeah. Michigan State, 4.5 wins last year. This team averaged 19 points a game on offense, 5th worst defense in Power 4. I like Aiden Childs a little bit, man. Like, I need to see more from him. Nick Marsh at wide receiver is nice, nearly 700 yards receiving as a freshman. But offense and defense, both 100 or worse when you talk about PFF. Not a good team. I don't see them being very good this season either. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Aiden Childs, that's about it. They got Matt Glove, the center, Matt Glubkin or whatever his name is, but other than that, they can be a sneaky team. That's another team right there. Just by the way they played, the culture there at Michigan State, run the ball, kill the clock, and play hard defense, hard-nosed defense, and that's people sleep on them a lot, and then they get in a fourth quarter battle with them, and I don't want that to happen with us. Yeah.
Now we got Maryland, man, projected 5.5 wins, 4-8 last year, still but effing believable that we lost to this team last year. My God. They're bringing in a freshman quarterback in Malik Washington, who's top 11 quarterback in the country coming out of high school. They had the lowest graded offensive line in the entire country last season, 47.1 grade, and they lost 3 starters from that O-line as well. So I don't know, maybe it'll be better, maybe it'll be worse. I don't know. Lost their running back, lost their 2 wide receivers, their 2 top wide receivers. Yeah, man, what thoughts?
Yeah, Maryland, Mike Loxley, I remember I was in New Mexico when he was a coach there. Not a whole lot. The guy underachieved there, and he's underachieving here. You got Malik Washington, and that's about it for this program.
Mm-hmm. Northwestern projected 4.7 wins. I mean, we're not doing the SETs or ACTs here, but all I can say about Northwestern, my dog Preston Stone, bro. You know,
Yeah, SMU transfer.
my twin Preston Stone, you know what I'm saying? Came
Uh-huh.
over from SMU. And I think he's a good quarterback, bro. He's got top 5 passer grade the last 2 seasons of any college quarterback, you know, up there with the Shadur Sanders and the Dylan Gabriels and all these top guys that ended up going to the NFL and whatnot. So hype on that. He has like one wide receiver, this Griffin Wild kid that transferred over from South Dakota State. I don't know if he's going to be able to take it to the Power 5 level, to the Big 10, to the Big 10 level. But hey, my twin Preston Stone, bro. Hope you have a good season, but you know, I hope you're throwing picks against USC.
All I got to say about Northwestern is that they are in the process of constructing the largest and the most expensive stadium, Ryan Field, in all of college football. And that's coming up soon. So before you know it, you know, they'll probably end up being a relevant program again in the Big Ten.
Okay. Cool. And Purdue, we at the end, 2.9 projected wins. Obviously, Josh Henson is over there. Is he the OC or?
Yeah, he's the offensive coordinator. Yes,
the OC.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe there's a little bit of spy action, obviously, because he knows how Lincoln likes to get down. Mike Jack coming over from USC as well. Out there at wide receiver. Obviously transferring over there from Georgia. But seems like they're gonna have multiple quarterbacks playing this year. It's gonna be rough, bro. I don't think Purdue is gonna be good at all. Big rebuild going on at Purdue right now.
Yeah. They have Ryan Brown, or whatever his name is, the quarterback. He's competing against I don't know how many other guys there, but we'll see what happens with that. Odom is the coach there. He hasn't had a lot of success in his career, but we'll see. I'm ready. Next one.
So let's get into our top teams, man. Our top teams headed into, you know, this upcoming season. Our top 4, our Fab 4. I'm gonna rattle off mine real quick, man.
Yeah.
I got Texas at number 1, man. I really liked what I saw from Arch Manning. I liked some of the stuff he did last year even more than Quinn Ewers, man. His athleticism, he's a lot better of an athlete than I thought he was. And he's able to make some big throws and do some good stuff, man. So I like Arch Manning. Obviously, they're losing Gunnar Helm. They're losing Matt Golden. They're losing Isaiah Bond to the NFL. Nice running back on Quintravion Wisner. Had 1,000 yards, 5 touchdowns last season. Huge and really good offensive line. And when you talk about linebackers, man, they got some ones out there, right? Anthony Hill, 8 sacks, 113 tackles last year. You had Trey Moore with 5.5 sacks. And I love Ryan Wingo at wide receiver, man. I think he's going to take a jump. He was a freshman last year. I think he's going to take a jump this year.
Yeah,
super hype on them. Penn State, talked about the run game a little bit already. Talked about my faith in Drew Aller. I don't know, man. I just feel high on Penn State for some reason. I do. I feel high on the run game, but you know, as time goes on, I feel a little higher on Clemson. I'm not gonna lie. I probably should have Clemson in this spot, but they're in my number 4 spot. I got Georgia at the number 3 spot. I think they're gonna get a lot better in terms of running the ball. They only ran the ball like 124 yards a game last year. Struggled on defense at times. I like Gunnar Stockton at quarterback, bro. That hit he took in that game and how he was kind of able to bounce back when Beck was out and compete against those elite defenses. Like, I think this kid's got some, bro. I'm a big fan of Stockton, and I think he's good. And Clemson, bro. Ted Public is solid. I really enjoyed his ACC title performance last year. Kind of woke me up a bit. I gave him a lot of credit for that game. They got 80% of their team back. Number 1 return in production in the entire country. Definitely my pick to win the ACC. But their defensive line, boy, no joke. Might be the best defensive line in the country. It probably is. Peter Woods, TJ Parker had 11 sacks last year. Big edge. Like Clemson got monsters on that D line, bro. So that's my top 4 right now.
You know what? Let me rattle through these really quickly. The reason I picked Clemson is because they've developed such, like you just hit it right on the head. They have tons of talent on that team. And on top of that, they play in the ACC, which is probably one of the worst conferences in college football. So, I mean, they got some decent teams on there, but for the most part, they're going to run right through that schedule and they'll be at the top. Georgia, I picked Georgia just because, it's Georgia. You know, what can I say? I'm really not high on these a lot of these top fours because I feel at the end of the season this is going to be completely different. To be honest with you, and then you look at Texas. For me, it's hard to put Texas at the number 1 spot when you're an underdog in game 1. I don't understand how that happens. And then Ohio State's Ohio State. You know, we'll see what this quarterback is made out of, and if Ryan Day can win without Chip Kelly.
All right, man. Now let's talk Heisman, baby.
Let's go.
Let's talk Heisman. Woo. Let's talk Heisman, man. And
I'm gonna take so much heat for mine.
I'm gonna take. You're gonna take heat. You're gonna take heat, and I'm on a USC channel, bro. All right. So get out your cameras, get out your screen recorders, do whatever you gotta do, bro. This is not easy for me to do. I believe Jeremiah Love is the best running back in the country.
Oh,
17 touchdowns last year, 6.9 yards per carry, 163 yards. I believe all he has to do is stay healthy, bro. Reminds me of Darren McFadden, 6 foot 215, looks to be more like 6'3", hurdled over multiple cats throughout the game, bro. Just a beautiful runner, bro, an elite athlete. It pains me to say it, but I gotta be true, bro. Some shit is just undeniable, bro. I'm sorry, dog.
Yeah.
Like, that unbelievable run against Penn State, right? That kick return against Indiana. Those look like Heisman moments. I'm very high on Jeremiah Love. I hope he has a terrible game against USC. I hope we fuck. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me not. Sorry. And yeah, bro, that's my first guy. Jeremiah Smith, 15 touchdowns, 1,300 yards last season, 17 yards per catch. I believe this kid's already NFL ready, bro. Would have been the top pick in the NFL draft last season if possible, right? I think they got to work something out like that. Kid was born ready, bro. Looks like LeBron did at 16 playing against NBA players. Like, it was extremely developed before the season even got underway. Jeremiah Smith is big time. I just don't know how he can really top his freshman year. That's the question. That's what I don't see. Like, how can he really top that, right? It's going to really come down to how good Ohio State is, how far they can make it into the dance, and how good Julian Sand is, man. If you could get him the ball and put him in those positions to make those catches and succeed, right? But this is nothing special, man. Jeremiah Smith, big dog, definitely a Heisman Trophy candidate. And kind of a bit of a dark horse here. I got Lenoris Sellers, man. Really enjoyed watching him at the end of last season. Watched the LSU game, watched a few games that he played at the end of the year. True dual threat. Really liked his leadership out there and the plays that he was able to make. And he's gonna have the opportunity to really show how good of a quarterback he is. He got LSU again, got Bama again. Got a lot of big time SEC games to play, big time games on the road. And also has some nice tools and nice toys outside. Love Nick Harbor, big 6'5", 235-pound wide receiver that runs like 4.3, track star, unbelievable athlete that he's gonna be able to go to when he needs it. And yeah, man, those are my Heisman guys.
All right, we got Cade Klubnik, and the reason I put him up there is obviously the guy's a really talented football player. He has all the tools to be competing at the next level. Plays in the ACC, so the guy's going to be up there. The question is, can he kind of keep those his inconsistent play in check? When Diego Pavia, let me tell you, I dare you to doubt this young man. He's a New Mexico boy. When I was living in New Mexico, this guy was amazing, man, out there. People love him. And I like I said, I dare you to doubt him. This guy, if he pulls off some victories like he did last year when he's shocking people, and let's say they go on a little run, because in his mind, they could beat any team in the country. And he just has that ability to, and what a really, really great leader does is Pavia is able to bring these guys to that next level. Players that are 2-star guys, whatever, he can elevate them just by his motivation and his leadership. And then we got Jaden Mayava, who I'm just saying, I know people are going to give me a hard time about it, but let's hear me out here. The guy ends up winning in Illinois. Let's say we go into Illinois, he has a great game there. Go on the road to Nebraska, beats Nebraska, has a great game. It's possible 30 touchdowns are easily in the mix if you keep the turnovers down. I'm telling you right now, you'll see him sitting there at Radio City Music Hall.
Yes, Mark, sir. Hey, man, I hope you're right. Now we gotta see my album with delay in Radio Music Hall. Just chilling, man. Just chilling. Jaden Mayava. I want to see it.
There you go.
I want to see it. Next up, man, we got coaches on the hot seat, bro. Coaches on the hot seat. I'm going to handle my 3 on the left. Then I'm going to hand it over to my guy, Paulie, on the right. First off, starting with Mario Cristobal, man. Going into year 4. Last season from Miami was kind of like our first season with they had Cam Ward. It was kind of like our first Caleb season, right? Where they had probably the best quarterback in the country, but didn't get it done. Ended up losing to Syracuse, ended up losing to Georgia Tech. You feel me? Games that they probably should have won. I'm down here in Miami. People are they're looking at the clock like, yo, if it's not this year, Mario, like what's going on? And Mario is a Miami legend, man. Went to Miami and he is on the clock, man. 10 years, $80 million. People are tired. People are tired of paying $120 to park their cars at Hard Rock Stadium. And his seat is sizzling, man. Now, Billy Napier, 7-year contract, $51.8 million. Got to see improvement year 3, man. Fans calling up UF, yo, get this cat out of here, brother. They were trying to get him out of there last year. DJ Lagway is low-key your savior, Billy. DJ Lagway was low-key. DJ Lagway was low-key Billy Napier's savior last year, and he's his savior this year. And it depends how Florida is able to make this thing shake this upcoming season, man, because they are not happy with Billy Napier, but they figured out a way to kind of generate a little bit of hope last season. And I'm going to end it here with my guy, Lincoln Riley, man. And I'm going to say, and this is what I'm going to say about Lincoln Riley, right? And I don't like, all right, I'm looking at this 2 ways, right? Me as a fan, me as Preston, I saw progression last season from Lincoln Riley and USC because I saw a team that fought and competed in every single game. That is not what I saw the year prior, and that is not what I saw a year prior to that. I saw a team that fought every single game. I saw an improved defense. I also saw a guy in Lincoln Riley that sat back in the offseason, in the previous offseason, said, yo, I got to figure this out. Yo, the Grinch that stole USC's championship seasons. I know you're my homie, but you got to get out of here, bro, because if I don't get you out of here, they're going to get me out of here. Like, and I got this nice house, and I like living in LA, man. I want to fix this stuff, man. So there's a lot of USC fans that still feel like he's sizzling. To be honest, if we don't get 9 wins, I think he is sizzling, but I think we will get 9 wins. So, but he is on the hot seat by a lot of people in our fan base. And yeah, man, that's all I gotta say about that.
All right, well, I'm jumping to Luke Fickell, who is in a situation similar to what Lincoln Riley is in. He came into a program that was in pretty much shambles and ends up going one way and realizes this isn't the way and ends up having to change midway through. Maybe needs a little bit more time, but that seat is definitely roast. It's toasting right now. This guy has a lot of pressure on him. If he doesn't start winning soon in today's world of college football, they'll probably see the door right away. And then we got Kalen DeBoer, and people are wondering, why the guy just no. You know what? It's Alabama. If you lose 3 games this year, you're gone. I don't care who you are. They'll bring in Coach
DeBoer. Let's get Coach DeBoer out of here.
That guy won't even be safe. They'll have to move somewhere else, man, if he gets 3 losses. And Norvell, it's only a matter of time. And I've said this all along. Look for Deion Sanders to take over this program eventually. I've always been a firm believer in that. The guy will definitely come in. This is what's been in the works. Who knows how long? And I don't care what anybody says. I firmly believe that. And Brent Venables, he is what he is. The guy's pretty much out the door. I never believed in this guy from the beginning. And I can tell you right now, they have one of the most brutal schedules in college football. Just take a look at it. You're going to be blown away. I don't know how they expect this guy to win. Mateer can't do everything, so we'll see how it goes.
Okay, man. That's the hot seat convo. Let's have some fun here, man.
Yes.
About mascots.
Okay, all right.
We're gonna talk about mascots, and man, I'm gonna talk about my top mascots, man. So I'm gonna go from C tier to A tier, man. Starting in the C tier, I got the Fighting Maryland Terrapin, man. And you don't have many turtles out here, bro. You don't have many fighting turtles, man. He's just kind of a little awkward little guy. He's kind of cute. I kind of like him. And yeah, man, that's where I'm starting off. Then I got the Duke Blue Devil. And this is kind of this is my mascot. This is my guy, man. I'm a big, Duke basketball fan. This is a basketball mascot, Duke Blue Devil. You can't go wrong with him. Sebastian from the University of Miami is, the first in my C tier. They tweaked Sebastian, bro. He used to look a lot cooler. If he looked like he used to look, he would probably be in the B tier. But they kind of made him like try to look mean. They gave him some Schnellenberger eyebrows, like the old Miami coach from back in the day. I don't really know why they did that, but
with the cigar.
Yeah, Sebastian is kind of cool. He used to look a lot cooler back in the day. We got the UAB Blazers mascot, who was like a dragon, which is dope, bro, because you don't got many dragons, right? Like it's unique and I like it, bro. It's pretty fire. Like they used to send me letters back in the day. And I used to do research. So I used to see, they actually have a dragon as a mascot. It's not something you see very often. So like that. The Badger from Wisconsin, Big Ten brethren here. He's just so funny, bro. He's got the long body and the big head. It just kind of moves awkwardly. And yeah, this is a funny little character that we got here with the Wisconsin mascot, man. Probably the most positive thing they're going to be seeing in their program this season, unfortunately, is their mascot. We got Sparky, man, who I used to see a lot. I used to be out there and be at Arizona State University. Man, I used to be in Tempe every day doing all types of nonsense. Sparky is a great mascot. Then we got the Duck, man. Duck from University of Zero, bro. I'll be honest, this is the best thing about their entire university and the best thing about their football program, right? So put the Duck out here. He's cute. He's kind of funny. He could be a little disrespectful at times, but he is also very tasty, with the side of, scallion pancakes or whatnot, with a little bit of duck sauce on the side, bro. We got Billy, the Hawaiian mascot. It's hard to be a good mascot as just a human being, and I like this because he is actually like a Hawaiian warrior. And he does the dance, does the tribal dance, does, the cultural stuff over there at the University of Hawaii. So super dope. I got him in my B tier. Been high on the horned frog or the horned lizard for a while at TCU, man. I just thought he was like a interesting, dope looking little guy. So I got him second in my B tier. Number one, I got the Buckeye. In the B tier, Brutus is just a funny guy. Also, the uniqueness of him being a nut. It's just a funny looking cat right here, man. So Brutus is my number one in the B tier. Then at the end of my A tier, I got Albert the alligator. I used to, love those 4 teams back in the day with the felons and the murderers on the squad. And they always had a really cool mascot, bro. Albert was a really cool mascot. So it's great to be a Florida Gator, you know what I'm saying? So I got Albert here. I got Big Red, man. And funny, bro. He looks like kind of like a cousin of Grimace, like the McDonald's character.
Skinnier version.
Yeah, just a little skinnier. And, he's kind of sued out in the red. So I got WKU Big Red here. I got Uga, man, from the University of Georgia, the real life Bulldog. I myself am a Bulldog father. I wish I could bring my little guy on camera right now, but he's downstairs because he's kind of crazy. So I got love for the Bulldog. Traveler, the horse with Tommy Trojan at my number 3. USC, how we rock, man. Just the majestic, nature of it all. Tommy Trojan, Traveler, the Coliseum, the Torch, man. It's USC. It's the reason why we love the program so much. Number 2, I got Chief Osceola, man.
Oh, that's a good one.
Another one that's just like, as a real human being and a living creature, you feel like you're watching like a Seminole Indian really do his thing, man. I've seen this live. I was at the butt whooping that Georgia put on FSU not too long ago. So I saw this live. He lights it with the fire, with the spear and the turf and everything. It's dope, man. It's a fun time. And then at number 1, I got the Stanford tree, man. And this is close to my heart. My father coached Stanford basketball for 9 years, man. So I constantly grew up around this tree, saw him dancing, saw him doing this thing. It's tacky, it's awkward, but it is unique, definitely, man. And they be hanging and putting stuff on them. And yeah, man, shouts out to the Stanford Cardinal on that one for the mascots to the Stanford tree. Paulie, we're going to get to your mascots right now.
Let's go. Let's do it. I'm going to go right through these. Yeah. My C-tier mascots, man. Okay, we got the Rambling Wreck over here, the car. And the reason is the only people that can appreciate it are those geeks, mathematics and engineering geeks at Georgia Tech when that thing drives out on the field. And then we got the Sun Devil guy, Sparky, whatever his name is. I like this guy. But this one here, especially me, is Pay Dirt Pete. And he's the Texas El Paso mascot. And if are we gonna show him now? And the reason I like Pay Dirt Pete, he reminds me of my uncle. And my uncle happens to live in El Paso. Look at the resemblance there, guys. Isn't
hilarious, that hilarious. Shouts out to Unc, man. Shouts out to Unc.
I got nothing but love for you. And it's so bad. So anyway, we got Western Kentucky Big Red. We got Bill the Goat from Navy, who I you gotta love that. Army Navy, hands down, a must watch every year. Okay, we got Ramses, the UNC mascot, which Preston is not a big fan of. We got Otto the Orange, Syracuse Orange. I mean, that thing is so cute. It's like it's just so neat, just that little orange. And then obviously you got this big Longhorn Bevo, or what's his name, Bevo. Yeah, he's he doesn't do a whole lot, just kind of stands there. But Bucky the Badger, Sparty, man, you can't go wrong with Sparty. That guy's an iconic college mascot. And then the Mountaineer, you cannot go wrong with that guy, man. They got the beard, everything. The guy just fits the role. And then you got Buzz, the Georgia Tech mascot, and you got the Demon Deacon, who comes out on his Harley out in the football field. Great guy, man. Wake Forest football. Then you got Traveler. Okay, and he's in my A tier, one of my A tier mascots. And the only thing different I wish we can do is I wish we could have like a more imposing character riding the horse, like a Leonidas type of guy. Instead, we got these small little guys like Willie Shoemaker, these jockeys, man. They're like really tiny little guys. I want like a big muscular guy riding that horse, intimidating the opposition. Then we got Ralphie the Buffalo. This guy, man, I love it when sometimes he gets a little out of control and he'll start knocking those guys over. And then we got Billy the Warrior from Hawaii, man. I've actually seen this guy, and he's something else. He's really intimidating presence up close. And you got Nitro from Central Florida. I think it's really cool, the whole design. And then they actually got an actual person wearing the armor on a horse, which is cool. And you got Schooner. This one right here, ever since I was a kid and I was watching football games on ABC, and I'd love to see this wagon come out. And sometimes the thing would flip over, which was crazy. But this is hands down my favorite mascot in the entire country. And it's Kenny the Keg from Dartmouth University. So it's crazy. So Kenny the Keg basically is just put together. It's a beer keg. This guy, I think, has duct tape on it and everything, but it's one of the most popular mascots in the country. And I cannot believe it. Dartmouth chose that as their mascot. They had their original mascot taken from them, so they all banded together, the entire university, and they came up with Kenny the Keg. So there you go.
Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. That is like probably the greatest thing, to have a keg as a college
no doubt,
because like it's just a bunch of underage drinking going on. So like, yeah, why not, bro? All right. So this is the time, man, where I'm going to give back to the chat. If you're in the chat, I'm going to give back to the chat. This is ticket giveaway time, man. So if you're in the chat, if you're lurking, this is the time to type in the chat and tell me the answer to this question. I don't know if anybody's out there looking for a ticket. It's one ticket. This was my ticket. I can't make it out to LA right now because I started a whole new career selling insurance. So, I have to be in Miami right now. I cannot make it to LA right now for week 1. So the question is, man, I don't know if you guys are subbed to me, but if you are subbed to me, you should know the answer to this question. If you know who I am, you should know the answer to this question. Other than Reggie Bush, who is my favorite Trojan of all time? First one to get it right, put it in the chat. The ticket is yours, man. I don't know if anybody's going to put it in the chat. I'll give y'all a couple minutes, but other than Reggie Bush, who is my favorite Trojan of all time?
And even though it's one ticket, I was just telling my mom this earlier. It's like, if you're a dad and you want to get out for a day, just get away from the family and go catch, half the game or full game, whatever you want to do. It's a nice little getaway. So I would definitely be down for that.
Yeah. If nobody puts anything in the chat, though, I'm going to wait I'm gonna wait like 2 more minutes. I'm gonna wait maybe 1 more minute.
Yeah,
And I'm gonna just get my refund, bro. I'm just gonna get my $100, bro. I'm gonna get my.
Now somebody watch before you know it, man. Once we get off, man, the show here, everybody will people are gonna start chiming in like crazy.
Or also, yeah, whoever puts it in like after the show too, then like they could get it, bro. But I'm gonna move on from this. Just a couple minutes here, bro. How you feel? Actually, no, we'll do score predictions next. We'll do score predictions next show when USC plays.
Yeah, you got it.
But I'm very excited. You're not gonna be at? Are you going to this game?
No, I'm not going to that game. I'll be. I'm looking to go to one out of town game, and then also the Michigan game at home. Okay, I'll be at that one. Yeah, that one's set, ready to go. I'll be there. And one thing I wanted to give a shout out to is Aldo and Ish from Trojan Squad. Now, Tina, I don't know if you're still on, but this is probably one of the best tailgates out there. These guys are hands down. They're amazing. It's an amazing story. They start off with like 10 people. Now they're in the thousands when it comes to supporters who come out to this tailgate, and just follow them. Make sure you follow them on Instagram. These guys they're amazing. They'll respond back to you. They got some great merchandise. So that's it right there. So yeah, Tina, I noticed Tina's back on. Tina, it's Trojan Squad on Instagram. Follow Aldo and Ish. Those are the guys there. It's hands down the best tailgate around, and it's Trojan Squad on Instagram, and Aldo and Ish. And then what I can do is if you want later, I'll go ahead and I can send you a message and I'll get it to you. But thank you, Tina, so much.
All right, man. So whatever. I'll just give that whoever comments on my channel or whatever, I'll give that ticket away if anybody comments that to answer that question. But let's just pick these games, man. There's not many games today, right? So I kind of like put a little bit of games together. There's a game for Thursday that I put up here as well. But make sure you kind of jot down somewhere because we're gonna keep track of this, and that's gonna be our bet, Paulie.
Yep.
Whoever loses picks at the end of the season, you're gonna have to be on your LeBron James. So, and you're gonna have to tell me you tell me what I gotta do, bro.
I'll figure something out.
You gotta say LeBron James a GOAT. You're gonna have to wear a LeBron James jersey or something like that. So
yeah, you might have to wear a Jeremiah Love jersey, man.
That's not fair, bro. That's
kidding.
That's not fair, bro. All right,
I'm kidding. All right, man.
So let's go, bro. Okay, so Fresno State at Kansas. Kansas new stadium.
Yeah, new stadium.
Got a lot of offensive firepower. I flipped on this game 6 times. The answer that I had to this game last night is different from the answer that I have to this game right now, man. So let's talk about it. I have Fresno beating Kansas. I got Mike Ince, man. I think Mike Ince going into Fresno. Like, I don't know. I just feel it, bro. I just feel it ups. I think he's going to spoil the party today. I got Fresno State. That's my upset.
Yeah, you know, the thing about Fresno State is you look from Sweeney back throughout the years. You know, I've always followed Fresno State. I have 2 cousins that graduated from there. It's a program that puts out a lot of pros in baseball, football. They're just a solid program. They can definitely, it doesn't matter where they go, they can go on the road. They can give teams a tough time. They just have that culture in them. They got a lot of guys, transfers that come in that just end up playing at a higher level. I mean, you got everything from Devontae Adams to Derek Carr to David Carr, and the list goes on and on and on. Lorenzo Neal. But I honestly think they have a good chance of upsetting them, but I'm going to take Kansas at home.
Got you. Stanford at Hawaii, man. I got Stanford. I like the young quarterback. Andrew Luck, obviously, over there, been doing his thing as a GM. I like Stanford on the road here. How do you feel about it?
You know what? Yeah, I'm definitely going with Stanford as well. You know, they have some returning players that are, it's the one thing about these a lot of these teams. They have those older, mature guys, actually men. And so Stanford has a few guys coming back. Andrew Luck's doing a great job getting that righting that ship there. So I'm going with Stanford.
Okay, game of the week, man. Game just got underway, so we got to get off air here. But Iowa State, Kansas State in Dublin Island. I think, man, Avery Johnson, Dylan Edwards on the offensive side of the ball. I think it's going to be too much for Iowa State. I got Kansas State. What you got?
Yeah, Rocco Beck. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks. but I'm definitely going with Kansas State. I've never seen such an out of shape quarterback do so many things like Avery Johnson. That guy has like my body, man. He's running around, but somehow, man, he makes the plays and makes it happen.
Boise State at South Florida, man. I have Boise State. Got still a lot of talent. Got Madsen coming back at quarterback. They're just a consistent. I got them as probably my number 12 spot. As we get to the playoff for the end of the year, I think Boise State takes care of business against South Florida on the road.
I think South Florida, they play well at home. I think that's my upset of the week right there.
Okay.
Nice. South Florida.
Nice. Nebraska. This is a little later in the week. Nebraska at Cincinnati, man. This is one that I made a tweet about this week. I was like, hey, this could be hairy. This could be iffy. But as I sit back, I look at the Cincinnati offense, man. I don't like it. I got Nebraska taking care of business on the road.
Yeah, definitely. I think just the talent. They're not the same Cincinnati team. If you really break them down, there's not one. There's not a Sauce Gardner. There's not any guy like that on that team right now. So I'm definitely going Nebraska.
Yep. And lastly, we have Miami of Ohio at Wisconsin.
Man.
I mean, two iffy teams. I saw Miami of Ohio give University of Miami a little bit of a bit of a game early last season, but I got Wisconsin. I think they're gonna be able to handle business. Miami of Ohio isn't that scary, but I got Wisconsin here.
Believe it or not, week 1, I'm gonna go with another upset. I think Miami of Ohio is gonna catch them off guard. I think there's so many holes in Wisconsin's game, even though they're playing at home. I just think there's a chance for any team to go in there and upset them.
Okay, man. And hey, that's it, guys. That is the show.
Woo!
I appreciate everybody that came through, man. We're gonna be doing this show. Let me go back to the front. We're gonna be doing this show all season long, each week of the college football season, man. This was just the first week 0, so things will get better. I'll get more smooth with the transitions and whatnot. And games just got underway, so we're gonna get out of here. If you're new to the show, first episode, you guys already know. Follow me at Preston's Paradise on YouTube. Fight on Preston on Twitter. We're gonna eventually. I had an issue with Twitter today, so I wasn't able to even put the stream out on Twitter. Probably get a lot more people in here next time. Go follow Paulie Walnuts at
Calling the Shots on YouTube. You can follow me on Instagram at Paulie Walnuts 4242. Follow me on X as well, and I'm also on Facebook. So definitely show some love and hit subscribe, guys.
Yeah, like the stream. If you guys enjoyed the show, hit subscribe. Appreciate you guys, and fight on. We out of here.
Fight on.